Today, we will discuss the old man and the old man and the sea, Santiago. He is 70 years old, a lonely fisherman who hasn't caught a single fish in 84 consecutive days. How does he summon the courage to go out to sea again and venture into the deep? How does he encounter the magnificent fish destined to cross his path? He battles it for 3 days and eventually wins, catching a fish longer than his small boat. However, on the way back, he faces shark attacks. The old man courageously pushes himself to the limit, repeatedly fighting off the sharks, but the entire fish is devoured, leaving only a white backbone. The old man returns to his small village and falls into a deep sleep. This is the story of the old man and the sea. It is remarkably simple, yet it delves into the depths of human endurance in the face of adversity. It prompts us to contemplate the victories one can secure by refusing to surrender, by not succumbing to life's challenges, and by standing tall against fate. Moreover, it underscores the capricious nature of life and destiny, emphasizing that even the most valiant efforts may sometimes lead to failure. He was an old man who fished alone in a skiff in the Gulf Stream, and he had gone 84 days now without taking a fish. In the first 40 days, a boy had been with him, but after 40 days without a fish, the boy's parents had told him that the old man was now definitely and finally Soleo, which is the worst form of unlucky. And the boy had gone at their orders in another boat, which caught 3 good fish the first week. It made the boy sad to see the old man come in each day with his skiff empty. And he always went down to help him carry either the coiled lines or the gaff and harpoon and the sail that was furled around the mast. The sail was patched with flour sacks and furled. It looked like the flag of permanent defeat. The old man was thin and gaunt with deep wrinkles on the back of his neck. The brown blotches of the benevolent skin cancer the sun brings from its reflection on the tropic sea were on his cheeks. The blotches ran well down the sides of his face, and his hands had the deep crease scars from handling heavy fish on the cords. But none of these scars were fresh. They were as old as erosions in a fishless desert. Everything about him was old except his eyes, and they were the same color as the sea and were cheerful and undefeated. This opening introduces us to a special old man. He is 70 years old, frail, and seemingly cursed in life, having not caught a single fish in 84 consecutive days. His face is thin and gaunt, marked with brown blotches from chronic skin cancer. But those eyes, those deep blue eyes, are cheerful and undefeated. This is a masterstroke. In the beginning, Hemingway uses a calm tone to describe the rare bond between the old man and the boy. The boy caught some fish and earned some money. He wanted to go fishing with the old man again. The old man politely declined, saying the boy should stay with a licky boat to catch more fish. The boy said the old man was the best fisherman he had ever known. The old man said no, he was not the best. The boy insisted, saying he was the best. This infused Santiago with a great deal of confidence. Their bond resembled that of a master and apprentice, or a grandfather and grandson. Every time Santiago laid eyes on the boy, it reignited something youthful and vigorous within him. Later, when he was drifting alone at sea, battling the great fish, he kept muttering to himself how much he wished the boy were there. Beyond truly wanting the boy's company, the old man was also beckoning to his younger self, summoning the lion within his heart. An experienced sailor holds his tools in high regard. Even after 84 days without a catch, the old man still meticulously cared for his fishing gear. He was acutely aware of the potential damage Duke could inflict on the lines, hooks, and harpoon. This is the mark of a seasoned veteran. The old man lived in a shack with only a bed, a table, a chair, and a place on the dirt floor to cook with charcoal. Hemingway also wrote that there was a picture of the Sacred Heart of Jesus and another of the Virgin of Cabra, relics of his wife, the only colorful things in the shack. With a simple description, a lonely, unlucky old man comes vividly to life. Life in the fishing village is sometimes quiet and slow-paced. The master and apprentice often have disjointed conversations. The boy would say, "What do you have to eat?" Then the fisherman would say, "A pot of yellow rice with fish." "May I take the cast net?" the boy would ask, knowing there was no cast net and no fish caught for 84 days. So how could there be a pot of yellow rice and fish? Yet, day after day, the old man and the boy would have these disjointed conversations. The boy delicately preserved the old man's last shred of dignity. They would chat and drink coffee together, and the boy would get leftover food on credit from the cafe to share with the old man. He liked the old man because he had been fishing with him since he was 5, and all his skills were taught by the old man. The old man, undeniably aged, would sometimes fall into a deep sleep. There is an exquisite passage that captures this. He no longer dreamed of storms, nor of women, nor of great occurrences, nor of great fish, nor fights, nor contests of strength, nor of his wife. He only dreamed of places now and of the lions on the beach. They played like young cats in the dusk, and he loved them as he loved the boy. He never dreamed about the boy. He simply woke, looked out the open door at the moon, unrolled his trousers, and put them on. He urinated outside the shack and then went up the road to wake the boy. The door of the house where the boy lived was unlocked, and he opened it and walked in quietly with his bare feet. The boy was asleep on a cot in the first room, and the old man could see him clearly with the light that came in from the dying moon. He took hold of one foot gently and held it until the boy woke and turned and looked at him. The old man decided to sail out alone, heading further into the sea, to find fish and meet the one great fish destined for him. The feeling of facing the sea alone has a kind of magical allure. In the dark, the old man could feel the morning coming, and as he rowed, he heard the trembling sound as flying fish left the water and the hissing that their stiff-set wings made as they soared away in the darkness. He loved flying fish because they were his main companions in the ocean. He was sorry for the birds, especially the small, delicate dark terns that were always flying and looking and seldom finding. And he thought the birds have a harder life than we do except for the robber birds and the heavy, strong ones. Why did they make birds so delicate and fine as those sea swallows when the ocean can be so cruel? She is kind and very beautiful. But she can be so cruel, and it comes so suddenly, and such birds that fly, dipping and hunting, with their small sad voices are made too delicately for the sea. An old fisherman alone at sea converses with the flying fish and feels pity for the birds. This is why, later, when Santiago encounters the great fish and struggles with it for 3 days and nights, he ultimately becomes one with the fish. He respects everything in the sea, understands the sea creatures, and can think like an animal, living harmoniously with the ocean. Following this build-up, just before reaching the climax, Hemingway crafts the suspenseful moment of waiting for the great fish to strike with gripping intensity. He was happy feeling the gentle pulling, and then he felt something hard and unbelievably heavy. It was the weight of the fish, and he let the line slip down, unrolling off the first of the 2 reserve coils. As it went down, slipping lightly through the old man's fingers, he still could feel the great weight, though the pressure of his thumb and finger were almost imperceptible. "What a fish," he said. "He has it sideways in his mouth now, and he is moving off with it." At this moment, the encounter happened. The old man was on the surface. The great fish was 100 fathoms below, but this tiny tremor touched the old man's nerves. He knew the great fish was hooked. However, it hadn't swallowed the bait yet. It merely clutched it sideways, carrying it off. He didn't put any pressure on the fishing line, letting it out lightly, a skill perfected over many years. The old man maneuvered with the fish, feeling its movements as it moved far, far away. When he looked back, he realized. Then he looked behind him and saw that no land was visible. That makes no difference, he thought. I can always come in on the glow from Havana. There are 2 more hours before the sun sets, and maybe he will come up before that. If he doesn't, maybe he will come up with the moon.